doctor that is going around touching people's pink eye. Hello.
Hola.
How are you doing?
Doing great.
Yeah, I'm doing okay.
I didn't care to ask.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. You didn't give me were you like zoned out when I just asked you that?
Yep.
Yeah. You weren't like there at all whenever I was just looking at you just now.
Was I staring off?
I don't know. You were just like an empty shell of like who you normally
I was
are.
getting in the zone.
Were you? Okay. I'm sorry. Sorry that I jumped the gun on you there.
I did say go though, so my bad.
Now you can see the little red light.
Beat that beat up.
We're recording.
Beat that beat up.
Hi everyone. Thanks for if you're tuning into this second episode of the Macaroni Rascals or the what was the other?
Don't call me Shorely.
Don't call me Shorely. A Jersey Shore podcast. Thanks for tuning in. We're gonna have some fun with this next episode because things start really coming to a head here in this next episode. Before we get started, sis, how you doing? How's everything going?
Oh, just battling that COVID life.
Got the vid. Got
the vid.
Yeah, it's all up in our cells. It's gobbling us up.
It's all up in there.
You know what? I'm actually doing okay. I did test positive for COVID, but I still have my sense of smell. It was really just a tiredness thing for me. I was very worn out for the past couple of days.
It was like a real bad cold, but I will disclaimer that we are vaccinated. So I will say there are some people who fare a lot worse than we do. There's some people who don't even feel symptoms at all. So
it's true. Well, watch your ass out there, everyone.
Yeah.
Take precautions because 'tis the season.
The Omicron does not discriminate.
No, it doesn't discriminate for anyone.
Okay.
Look, guys are gonna have to bear with us here because we're figuring all this kind of stuff out.
We're sniffling, we're sneezing, we're a little congesty.
Yeah. But we're sitting up here in a great studio recording this second podcast, which we can go ahead and kind of get into. So everyone grab yourselves a hot can of NOS and some hairspray, and we will jump right in here to the next episode of Jersey Shore.
This episode is called The Tanned Triangle. It aired on December 3rd, 2009. It had 1.38 million viewership in the U.S. It is the second episode of the first season. And here's a little recap for you.
Give it to us.
Still feeling like the outcast, Snooki tells the others that she's leaving the shore, and the roommate's first night out at the club gets flirty, proving that the boyfriends back home might, in fact, have something to worry about. And what started with Mike and Sammy turns into a love triangle that threatens to divide the house.
We're going to just get all kinds of division going on here with this whole little triangle. I love the name of this episode, The Tanned Triangle. Because that's exactly what we're heading into. We got a little love fest going on here. So, the episode opens up where we left off with Snooks there, teetering on the edge of, am I going home? What do I need to do here? I still feel like the outcast. That's where we start the episode, I believe.
That was our cliffhanger from the end of the last episode. So yeah, she's in a big debate with herself about if she's leaving or not. And I want to say this episode actually opens up, I don't know if you noticed this, Steve. It opens up on shots of all the roommates sleeping. I assume it's morning of the next day whenever this is being filmed. And they're all trying to sleep with overhead lights on. Have you noticed how often they try to sleep with the overhead lights?
I think they're doing that for the cameras.
I think so too.
But they have night vision cameras.
Yes, they do.
Maybe they just like sleeping with the lights on?
So is it kind of like a camp situation there where like, 9 a.m., that's it. All the lights just have to go on because we have to start the day of filming.
I bet you they've got some kind of criteria that they need to like stick to.
Because you can see like they're covering their eyes with the blankets, with stuffed animals, with clothes. Like you can see they're trying to block it out.
So,
but
I bet you that's a production thing.
These people sleep so much too, by the way.
Well, they drink so much.
I guess what else is there to do?
That's right. Because in these reality shows, you don't have access really to the outside world. You're like super, super contained. So, which I think adds to the whole like angstiness of everything. As you kind of go further and further on, things really do start ramping up because there is nothing else to do. So you got to kind of have to keep topping yourself on stuff.
It creates a good tension there, I think.
I love a good amount of tension. Tension's good.
Yeah, so Snooks is at this point wanting to go home because she's not the center of attention, she says. That's never been a problem that I've ever had.
She does say that.
She's used to being the center of attention.
I believe it.
It makes sense.
I think that's why she had such a hard time dealing with not being the center of attention starting out in the first episode.
We also open up with Mike cooking breakfast for Sam, and they talk about their feelings for each other in front of Ronnie.
Yeah.
Did you pick up on that?
Yeah, I saw that. Well, I picked up on talking about your feelings over breakfast. It's a big move.
It's very romantical on Mike's part, and I don't know if that's like, is that genuine romance that you're trying to like woo her, or is this part of you the like Mike strategy to get a girl?
I'm pretty sure that's part of the Mike strategy. I think he's in it at this point in his life. I think he's in it for like the long kind of game. If he can play around in that kind of field, kind of a thing.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows? Maybe he really did have a real like an actual connection with Sammy.
I think cooking is Mike's love language.
Mike loves to cook. Mike's always cooking.
He does. He just the previous night he just cooked the Sunday night dinner, and he does so for the rest of the series as well. He's always cooking.
I would eat Mike's food.
Yeah.
Mike, if you're out there listening to this podcast, okay, you want to get breakfast? That'd be great. So we're still getting to know everyone here. Everyone's still kind of gelling. I feel like it's like the first 2 episodes, they are just kind of setting us up here. Very beginning of the show, Angelina is having a hard time with work because they start work in this episode.
So also at the top of this episode, Polly and Ange are at work. It's their first day of work. I don't know if you noticed this, but in the background, as they're chatting with Danny the boss, the t-shirt display behind them is so normal. And when I say that, I mean, if you continue watching the show for the rest of the series, you end up seeing that a lot of the t-shirts they have on display is all of their quotes the taglines from the show.
Turns into a merch store for Jersey Shore.
Yes, exactly. But in the beginning, like all the shirts are so normal, like peace signs, like whatever normal is.
I think I read one that said, tore through your mother good. I think that was something on a pair of shorts in the background.
That's why I say, like, whatever is normal for Jersey Shore. I mean, I would never pay money for one of these things. But
I wonder how, because Mike is slinging in this episode some product.
Yeah.
And a lot of situation merch goes out the door in this episode. I wonder how long it was before that stuff ended up in the garbage. Do you think there's still those original pieces of apparel floating around out there?
I would love to see it if it is.
I'd love to get my hands on it.
It would be pretty amazing if someone did hang on to that. But
somebody must have.
Knowing this kind of quality of product, it probably shrunk the first time it went in the wash and then in the trash right after that.
Letters are peeling off.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's all gross.
There's lots of peelage going on.
Yeah. Angelina's having a tough time.
She's having a very tough time, and she also has a really good quote at this point. She says, I don't think this work thing is for me. I'm a bartender. I do great things.
Here's the exact quote, because I've got it written down, and I actually stopped the episode to make sure I had this verbatim. Quote, I feel like this job is beneath me. I'm a bartender. I do like great things.
I do like great things.
Bartending.
Bartending.
Whatever place in life you fall into. I mean, she's 22. I'll give her that. I think she aspires to do more as life goes on, but here, pretty low brow. Pretty low brow on the work scale there. She's not about the t-shirt thing.
And again, in this episode, they do keep referring to her as Jolie, which just annoys me.
Why?
It doesn't fit. Also, that's a discredit to
Angelina
the real
Jolie. Another Angelina, though. Angelina Jolie.
But I think that's why she picked that.
Oh my
nickname.
goodness, that
she thinks she's the Kim Kardashian.
You're 100% right.
So it makes sense. She thinks she's the Angelina Jolie.
I didn't even put that together, but yeah, I think that's
what it is. Also, at the top of this show, we get a little tender moment where Sam pulls Snooki aside to talk about staying, and they end up sitting on the couch and chatting for a little bit. I thought that was like a really genuine exchange between them, whether it was produced or manufactured in some way or not. I don't know if Sam actually would have gone out of her way to have that interaction with Snooks. I don't really know if she cared all that much, But I mean, I thought it was a sweet moment.
Let's assume that that was a genuine thing that she did.
It was a little backhanded, and I can't remember the exact comment that she said. I think she rehashed,
The pukey breath thing?
yes, she rehashed the pukey breath. She was like, but I get like that. I'll get over it. So if, I'll be your friend if you need a friend in the house.
Yeah, she brought up the pukey breath thing again.
Yeah.
During this episode.
Pukey breath.
It's no good.
It's really not.
I don't like pukey breath.
Me neither.
Who does?
This is where I also paused the episode because I was so confused about like their ages at this point. I can't remember what triggered me to want to look up their ages, but we already went over this in the first episode. But just in case you missed that, I'll go over their ages again. So Snooks is actually the youngest at about 22. Polly was the oldest at 29. And then everyone in the middle, we've got Mike at 27, Ron at 24, Jenny and Ange at 23, and Vinny and Sam at 22.
Yeah, it's so hard to keep their ages in your mind because some of them look so old.
Yeah.
And they're actually the youngest ones. And
Yeah.
then some of them look so young, but they're actually the oldest ones.
Yeah, it's wild.
I'm like, for some reason, I always assumed that JWoww was like the matriarch of this whole thing,
me
which she
too.
kind of is.
Yeah.
But I mean, talking about from an age standpoint,
yeah.
I always thought that she was like the oldest one of like the bunch. You know what I mean?
From here, the guys go to the gym. Their everyday gym sesh.
And we get the very, very earliest introductions into what would later become GTL. We get the Guido handbook starting to come out. Guys are talking about what they got to do out there. Let's see.
Mike is doing this really annoying, like, fast backward step on the treadmill next to three old people. Like, he's trying to look all cool.
Yeah,
I'm like, you are so uncool right now.
He's got the tight tank, wife beater on top, and then the baggy jeans underneath.
Yeah.
It's a classic move. It's a classic gym outfit.
Next to three old people, he's just like backward stepping and like he is just
Being annoying.
Oh,
I bet you he annoyed the shit out of those people.
man, those poor old people.
All they wanted to do was go in there and get some steps in. They didn't know what they were getting. But now, on the bright side, forever immortalized in what is a national treasure.
At minimum, their backsides are immortalized in that.
Yeah.
footage,
Hey, look, that's my grandpa's butt.
Snooks does decide to end up staying.
That's right.
And this is when she is quoted as saying, "This experience is helping me grow up." And I'm just thinking, just you wait.
Yeah.
This is where you come to grow up.
Yeah. You grow down, really, if anything.
And she can't afford to grow any lower.
That's true.
She's tiny.
She's a tiny girl.
We should look up how tall she is. I wonder if she's technically considered a small person. I think 4'11" is the cutoff to be considered a small person.
Really? That seems pretty hot. That seems pretty tall.
You think? Let's Google it.
I would think
Let's
maybe.
give it a Goog.
I would think maybe. You want to give it a googs?
Yeah,
there?
let's give it a Goog.
I would think that under 4 feet, maybe 4'6". But I don't know. I've got no sense of height.
Okay. Little People of America, or LPA, defines dwarfism as a medical or genetic condition that usually results in an adult height of 4'10" or shorter.
Okay, 4'10" or shorter.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so how tall is Snooks?
Let's Goog that.
Yeah, let's see.
Do you want to take a little guess there?
Snooks is probably going to be, man, I feel like she's a lot smaller than she looks like on TV.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 4'6". I'm going to say 4'6"
That's
for
pretty
Snooks.
tiny, man. No, not quite.
No? Okay.
Not quite. She is 4'9" tall without the poof.
Okay. The poof gives her...
Yeah, gives some added height there.
Is the poof an iconic haircut? What?
Is the poof?
I said that weird. I know.
You kind of disappeared
I did say,
there.
Is the poof?
You got lost in the poof.
I was thinking about it. Is the poof an iconic hairstyle? Is that iconic?
Well, for
did
her,
she make that
is.
iconic?
Oh,
I mean,
yeah. That was
the pump.
for sure.
Did you ever do the poof?
Not like that.
Not that big.
That is such an exact. I did do a little poof. Not nearly that high.
Was it one of those things where you had to buy that like thing that like plastic thing that went on your head and then you put your hair over it?
It's kind of like a half donut thingy almost. I never personally used that. I knew people who did.
Because I always thought, man, you make a wrong move and you bash your head into like a wall, it goes straight into your skull.
On the other side, it could act like a little bit of a helmet protection.
That's true. I would think the poof would give you the kind of feedback that you would need to say, I'm too... What are you going to be close to, though?
Right.
At least Snooki, you know?
Like need an overhead clearance type thing. No, I don't know. I always did it just naturally. It's all in the T's, man. Get some volume up there.
I've got to just note here. I just glanced down and this says Ed Hardy hat. Yuck.
Who had it on?
Lots of Ed Hardy. I don't know who had it on. Point. I think it was just random. I think for my my Ed Hardy count here, I have 7 sightings this episode.
Got it.
But I started doing that about halfway through, so there could be a couple in there that I missed.
Backing up a little bit to the poof, along the lines, I forget at what point this happens, but they're talking about the poof in this particular scene. And Paulie says, in a weird world, he and Snooks would make the perfect Guidette babies with little poofs and blowouts.
Yeah.
And I would be so down for that mix too.
Oh, you think so?
I would.
Really?
I would love to see that combo.
I never saw it together. You know who I was always rooting for was Paulie and JWoww.
Yes.
I liked their chemistry. I think, I don't know. I think maybe that might have been a throwaway line. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what Paulie.
I think he was just making a comment that they're like the most idealistic of their culture, and that they would make the most ideal.
The model
Guido
that you
babies.
should aspire to be like if you're going to be a Guido is what those people are.
I just thought that was such a great observation on his part, and I love that. I would love to see that combo actually come to life.
That would be wild. I don't think Paulie and Snooki really ever had that kind of relationship.
I don't think so. They were more like brother
sister kind of a thing. That was more the JWoww. I think that Paulie was the only one that Paulie really had anything to do with in the house was JWoww, which we get into a little bit later on.
Get into a lot
in the episode. This is episode 2, and we're jumping right into piercings and a very low cut yellow
top.
I wouldn't call it a top.
A piece of fabric.
This yellow covering that she's wearing, which is
a sock,
which is awesome, and I don't understand how it works. I think
me neither, man. And I'm a girl.
Yeah, I think it's a great outfit. For some people,
it's very iconic.
Yeah,
you have to have the right equipment though to pull something like that off, and she's got all the equipment.
She's got the equipment. Yeah, she certainly does.
At this point, we're getting into the evening on this particular day, and Mike and Sam have the night shift at the Shore store. And Mike is standing out in front of the store telling people to come in. He's kind of like barking at people. If I saw him out there trying to get me to come into that store, I would run the other way.
Yeah. I've got
thank you.
I've got a note here. Does abs offset a bad face? Because Mike is pulling in some crowds there.
It's a great question.
And his shirt is off for a lot of it.
A lot of it.
You know? And the girls seem to be really into it. Now, I'm not saying Mike is an ugly guy, because I don't think Mike is an ugly guy. He's got a unique face. I'll say that. He's got a baby face.
It's not my cup of tea.
Yeah.
Per se.
Great body, though.
Yeah. It's like his advertisement. It's kind of what reels people in at first, like right off the bat.
Was Abercrombie doing it first, though?
They probably were.
Do you remember going to the mall?
Oh, yeah. Oh, for sure.
And seeing those guys outside the Abercrombie?
Kind of case in point. I feel like that's why you would go to those stores, as a girl at least. And a gay man, you know?
Yeah.
He does sell a lot of the I Love Situation booty shorts.
Yeah.
The letters are pressed on top of each other. I don't know if you caught that.
Just very haphazardly.
It's a waste of money. I mean, whoever is doing the pressing is just, they don't care.
I think it's them.
It shows.
Yeah. Just slapped together. I know a thing or two about screen printing. And that's just, that's not a job that's going to last a while. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Back at the house, the guys are dogging on Jenny about having a boyfriend. Because again, I think maybe he like called up to the house and she was talking with him or something. And
That's
they start
right.
getting on her about that.
Yeah, they really don't let that go.
No, they don't. Along those lines, Jenny does say, she's quoted as saying, I would be the stupidest person to leave what I have for anything here in the
Yeah, and then
in the
only a
shore
couple of
house.
hours later.
Only a couple of hours later, but it's also some great foreshadowing of what is to come in the series.
Oh, yeah. I maybe I don't remember all the details from what happens there.
Well,
but
we'll eventually get to that, but needless to say, maybe for some of you who are familiar with the Jenny and Tom relationship, it goes south very badly. I cannot remember what season this happens in. Actually, it might actually happen towards the end of this one.
Season? I think
But
it might.
We'll see. We'll see.
Thin eyebrows
Very thin.
Very thin.
It was the style back then.
back then.
I was a victim.
Yeah.
I'll admit.
Yeah. I wonder who started that.
Because those pop culture,
They were thin.
the thinner the better.
And now it's all about the,
Well,
bigger.
yeah, thicker is better now.
Bigger is better now.
On this night, the roommates decide to go out without Mike and Sam, and it kind of feels like this is the first clubbing night that they vote to go without Mike and Sam. So they go by the shore store to kind of like push it in their face a little bit.
Yeah, hey, we're going to go have fun. Y'all stay here at work.
Vinny is already getting under Mike's skin with this. Mike is so mad.
Yeah, he is. He's he says like I would never leave someone here, on the first night, at work.
Yeah.
Mike would 100%
He
leave them.
absolutely would. He says, I'll wait until everyone's like off. Like, no, you wouldn't.
Yeah, no. Well, he's like, when I plan stuff, I plan it for everyone. It's like, well, no one asked you to do that, Mike.
Right.
Why are you stepping up to the plate here?
And then on to the club. I don't know where it is that they go. It's one of the regular spots that they end up frequenting throughout.
Stamina or karma.
Stamina. Yeah. Exactly. Vinny somehow gets hooked up with some older gal and he says, I don't care if you're fat, ugly, or 45, I'll dance with you.
Yeah, and he dances under her at one point too.
Dives under this woman's legs.
See, Vinny's just out to have a good time, Vinny's not Vinny's not on the prowl like those other boys are.
Wherever
I feel.
they are, man, you can just smell the bad cologne and regrets in this club.
So much cologne. So much cologne.
All the axe in there.
I wonder if in this job, maybe I'll cut this out. I don't know. Do you think the boys shower more than the girls? Because the girls either look too wet or too dry. They don't look like moisturized, like healthily. Do you know what I mean?
Getting that balance, okay? Because I feel like men and women's skin might be a little different. I also don't know what the climate is there.
Yeah, I almost looked up the weather in 2009 in Jersey.
I mean, it's right by the ocean, so
yeah, it's got to be humid. Yeah, I don't know what it is, but they're either just damp or like too dry.
Yeah, it's a good observation for sure.
This is the only thing that I can notice. Felt like I could smell all these girls there in the beginning.
Well, the other thing I noticed at this night at the club is Andre the Giant and Angelina. She picks up this huge hunk of a man.
That's right.
Sounds like Andre the straight up giant.
And she has a boyfriend.
She has a boyfriend too.
Angelina is looking for trouble.
You know what though? I question if this is a real boyfriend. Every time he's on film or he's on the phone with her, he's just straight up annoyed. Like right off the bat, it's like he wants nothing to do with her. I don't know if this is an actual boyfriend situation or if they've maybe just gone on a couple of dates and she thinks it's her boyfriend.
No, I think it's an actual boyfriend situation. And I mean, it's Angelina. I mean, how much time can you spend with a person before you don't like her all that much?
That's true. That's true.
It sounds to me like that's a relationship quarrels. It sounds like an annoyance that is built over time.
This whole night, Polly and Jenny are heavily flirting with
all
each
up
other
on each other
the whole night, and I so wish this relationship would have happened. I so wanted that to happen.
Yeah, they even make references to that later on down the road in the Family Vacation series.
Yeah,
they even still it's like kind of a thing. So there's like I'm still holding out hope.
I know.
I would love for them to end up together.
I know, me too.
I've just got a note here that says Angelina's a mess. I don't know what. I don't know what that's referring to. I think it was just a general kind of note.
Yeah.
She is a mess. She's everywhere. Especially in this episode.
Another part of this night that I love is the Snooks hookup with Robbie. Robbie is he's kind of like a Pauly D like look-alike a little bit, but he's a little more Caucasian, I think.
Yeah, the guy the little skinny guy, right?
Yeah, the little skinny guy who has kind of like a mini version of the blowout that Pauly has. Anyway, she ends up going home with him on this particular night. And this guy is dumb as a box of rocks. I'm so sorry to say. He is quoted as saying, "I really like this loft area here. I don't know what to say." That's literally his quote.
I don't know what to say.
I don't know what to say.
Yeah.
You just said it, bro.
Yeah. Well, you have to, because he was probably pretty wasted
at that point. This is probably very late into the night / early morning hours. So I'll give him that. And he is definitely wasty because in a little bit, we're about to see what all he consumed that night.
He throws up everywhere.
Before we get to that, though, we do all make it back to the house after the club. All the roommates are back. This is where Pauly and Jenny are kind of getting a little hot and heavy. They're laying down. They're making out in the bed.
She's got the leg wrapped around.
Oh, yeah. And
the
for
whole thing.
some reason, he decides to show her his bedazzled junk.
No. Don't say for some reason like it came out of nowhere. All right. This has been building up that little tension all night long. That came out of a place of horniness.
I guess my confusion is, why is that your next move to like want to show that? Like, don't show, just do. I don't know. That's just me.
Well, see, I thought I read that situation as Jenny. It was the one who's like pumping the brakes on that, because I feel like it would have gone to that point if Jenny hadn't been boyfriend in the background.
I mean, immediately, as soon as that happened, she was like feeling all the guilt.
Snapped her right back in reality.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and then I think they ended kind of after that.
Pretty much ends abruptly after those second thoughts. And then at this point is when we pan back over to Snooks and Robbie, waiting for the sunset / sunrise.
Sunrise, yeah.
Snooks doesn't remember which one it is.
Night or is it morning? Yeah, it's both.
He looks so out of it at this point. Even from the distance of where the camera is mounted, you can tell like how discolored he is. And he just like sits up all of a sudden. You can see him start like retching a little bit, and projectile pukes all over their patio furniture. The grossest thing I think I've ever seen.
Yeah, he's sitting next to Snooki, and Snooki is trying to like tell him something, and you can just
she's trying to cuddle and like be all romantic, and he's just out of it.
All he's trying to do is just think about like breathe slow, like
maybe I can swallow it down.
I can feel it coming, but maybe I can get past this if she would just stop talking for like a second, and then it's game over.
I was so grossed out by that. And she like just kind of tells him, okay, you need to go over to the side and keep doing that.
But she takes care of him.
She does try to take care of him. So she ends up going downstairs and getting harassed by the guy roommates down there. And they're essentially like slut shaming her, which I was just like, what?
Yes, I noticed that too.
The double standard in this household.
I noticed that after I watched the episode. When I was reviewing my notes on this episode, I was like, you know what? They gave her a lot of shit.
They did.
That's can be turned right back.
It's so mean.
On them.
The double standards are forever in this series. It's so cringy looking back on it now.
Yeah, it's wild. Which is what makes the show great, is you get this little glimpse into a world that's like just extreme, you know?
Meanwhile, Robbie up there is still trying to save face. Offers Snooki gum, to which she declines, and he still tries to go for the goodnight kiss, which is like, what are you doing?
Wild, because at that point you'd be sobered up a little bit,
but you're still not really all there.
But I don't know. That's a
still
bold
tries
move.
to go in for it. What?
And she even says, "I can smell your breath."
Oh yeah.
I was like, "Oh god, it's so gross."
So can you? That's the problem.
Yeah, we can all smell this guy's pukey breath. A pukey breath is going to be a theme running through this entire show.
Yeah.
I'll give him. He had the stones to try to make it work.
Yeah.
What did he think was going to happen?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
We also then end up going to waking up. Everyone's waking up the next morning,
we're on the next day.
And Angelina, doesn't remember a thing, does she?
She claims to have been wasted at the club and does not remember what she did.
And but she says it with everyone knows that she knows exactly what happened. Do you know what I mean?
She's such a bad liar, man.
Such a bad liar.
No poker face whatsoever. Zero chill at all. She's smiling as she says, I don't remember. I don't even remember doing that.
She's like, I'm so confused. You're not confused.
You're not confused. If you're confused, it's not about this.
It's not. It's about why no one believes you right now is what you're confused about.
You were hanging out with that big guy. Like, he was a real big guy. She's like, I don't remember that guy. What's his name? Tom or whatever.
You got a boyfriend, everyone starts saying, and then she runs away.
She runs away. Yeah.
Did she go to call her boyfriend after that?
She goes to call him, and that's when I made my note too about like him always being annoyed with her. Like, even before he picks up the phone, he's annoyed.
Okay, well, before he picks up the phone, she calls him over and over and over and over again. So being annoyed, I feel like that's a normal thing that always happens.
It's a great strategy, actually. Don't you know? If you don't just keep calling people,
that's no good.
They'll pick up eventually.
Eventually.
That's what you want.
They'll hate your guts when they do pick up. You could call me 19 times in a row. I love you to death. I'm going to be upset. I'm going to be upset if anything other than
an emergency is happening.
Something horrible has happened comes out of your mouth.
Like my arm better be cut off or something.
If it's to say that you were confused and you don't remember.
Yeah.
Not cool.
Yeah.
Not worth that many calls.
At this point, we get to one of my favorite plot lines, as temporary as it is, Vinny and the pink eye incident.
The pink eye incident. You would think that this guy was diagnosed with some kind of terminal disease or something like that, because he takes it so seriously.
He even like is walking almost with like a limp. It's just like, what is wrong with you?
I'm shocked he did not come out of his room with a neck brace on. You know what I mean? Like that level of, which is, I get it.
Had to disclose his condition to all the roommates. Like,
that's what I thought was the funniest thing. He's like, hey, I want to sit everyone down.
He
like,
took it upon himself to make
just
sure.
So you guys know, oh, God.
And he points at it with his pinky. I
got pink eye.
I'm getting a little pink eye.
Everyone's like squinting, like, where? We don't see
that. And then they're grossed out.
Everyone's like, oh shit, I heard that's contagious. He's like, it's horrible. You don't want to get it. Let me tell you about something that's contagious that we're dealing with. Pink eye ain't one of those things that is too important on the list of things you should be worried about.
Exactly. We also at this point get the Ronnie Dolphin laugh.
That classic laugh that something great and not at all funny has happened.
Do your best Ronnie Dolphin laugh.
Oh man, I think I would need to. I don't know if I can just bust it out like that.
Do it. Give it your best shot.
You gotta do. You gotta be. I think you nailed it pretty good. I think I need to listen to it again. I can hear it in my head. It's so distinct. His laugh, the dolphin laugh,
and that's the first time we ever hear that dolphin laugh, and we'll continue to hear it throughout the series.
Great. I've got. Just go back to this pink eye thing. My notes say Vinny confesses to the whole house. So dramatic. Pink eye is not an excuse to not go to work.
Yeah,
which he desperately tries to get out of going.
Yeah. I think he genuinely felt bad for missing his first day.
He most certainly felt bad, but he did not want to go to that job. And he was like, oh, thank God I've got pink eye. Now I don't have to go.
We've got Dr. Pauly coming in with his diagnosis, and he's quoted as saying, it's very contagious. You can catch it just from the air.
Yeah, just from the air.
To which I Googled to make sure.
And?
Skin-to-skin contact or touching a contaminated surface.
So someone says he's going to lick the eye.
It's rare, but I think you can catch it from the air, but it's incredibly rare.
I mean, you'd have to have, it'd have to be red eyes at that point.
It'd have to be pretty severe case, I would think.
DEFCON 0 pink eye, levels of pink eye. I mean, can't open your eyes, pink eye.
Right. I mean, crusty. Pink eye.
Sealed shut.
Sealed shut.
You ever had pink eye so bad? I don't know if I can't remember if I've had pink eye, but we don't need to talk about it.
It's like, where are you going with this?
I'm not going anywhere important with it, so we'll get back to this. I think there was this really funny scene when Ronnie and a couple other people are at the Shore store, and Ronnie doesn't have a shirt on as always, and there's this. I think it must be another employee, kind of like standing by the counter, and you can just see him like scoping Ronnie's body.
Really?
Yeah, I noticed that
I missed
in the
that.
background. You know, he's kind of a big,
Yeah.
chubbier guy, but you know, they'll be talking, and you'll just kind of see him like look over.
Oh, that's
in the
funny.
background.
I
was like,
that.
I get it.
I missed that.
I
But we
get it.
are at the point where Vinny is trying to convince someone, anyone, any one of the roommates to cover his shift for the night so that he can go to his doctor's appointment. So he's telling Danny, you know, well, they want to split the shift up. You know, Sam will take the first 3 hours and Angelina says she'll come in for an hour after that. And at that point, Danny's just over it with all of these people.
Luckily, Vinny set himself up a little decently to
Yeah.
be able to allow that to happen.
Right.
Unlike if Snooki came in with that, no way.
Out of there. In the background, as Vinny is explaining all of this to Danny, the boss, Jenny is untangling the biggest hair knot I have ever seen.
Really?
Because Vinny is there with Jenny and Ron, and I think maybe one other person, and she is just standing in the background listening to the whole debacle, and she's got the biggest hair rat's nest that I've ever seen. You can see her like trying to comb through it. I don't know. It's got to be extensions.
Probably.
Yeah.
What is it? I don't know what that is. Do they get
like
tangled
hair
easy?
extensions. Yeah, I think they do. Like if you sleep on it the wrong way and it gets kind of tossed around a little bit, if you don't like tie it back in the right way, it tends to get tangly.
Not just more hair for your hair, isn't it?
Oh man, yeah. Essentially, it can make your hair like fuller, thicker, longer.
But you can always tell with these girls because there's like a nice hard line from where their real hair stops
Yeah.
and the extensions get all straight.
The installation process could probably use some work.
Really?
for them.
Installation, huh?
The installation of it, yeah.
Wow, how long is this taking?
Well, it depends on what kind of hair extensions you're getting. I know you can do like a weave-in where they actually like sew it into your hair.
What?
They have clip-ins. That's pretty much the only two methods that I know.
I'm going to assume that these girls are doing clip-ins.
Probably. That's the cheaper way to go.
They're most definitely doing clip-ins at this point. Maybe they get the tie-ins later on down the road.
So we're swinging over to the doctor's office, and this doctor, air quotes, touches Vinny's eye without
No
gloves
gloves
on.
on.
I was so creeped out.
Who is this doctor that is going around touching people's pink eye? Like, I'm pretty Vinny leads with that. He's like, hey, doc, I've got pink eye. Let me stick my thumb right up in there. No gloves.
Screaming at how gross that was.
Horrible. These days, you see stuff like that. So it jumped right out, at me when I saw that. This is the only thing that I could think about.
Quote unquote doctor.
Yeah. I wouldn't say doctor. I'd say like, I bet you he's like a chiropractor or something like that.
Chiropractors can be doctors.
It's like saying, National Guard is the Army. It's not. Good on you. Appreciate you, what you do. And we need people like you, but they are not the same.
So we're back at the Shore House. Everyone's getting ready to go out for the night. And we get
Ron Juice.
Ron Juice.
Ron Juice makes its first appearance.
Did you happen to catch what all the ingredients are?
I saw a lot of strawberries.
No, incorrect.
Okay, then I don't know what I was looking at.
I have the ingredients list, and I'm actually kind of curious to make this.
Okay, maybe we can have a cup of Ron Juice start the next episode.
Well, the recipe kind of differs depending on, I think, which episode you're looking at, because they kind of change it based on what they have available in the house, I'm assuming. But essentially what Ron Juice is made of is watermelon, cherry, cranberry juice, a bunch of ice to taste, and vodka.
It sounds great.
Yeah, it kind of does,
It
actually.
sounds great.
It sounds refreshing.
Those are all my favorite fruits to be in a drink.
I wouldn't have picked Cherry though, cherry. That's such an interesting fruit to add in there.
It's a good fruit.
That's a
to
good
add.
mix. Yeah.
You put a little bit of cherry in anything, it's going to be good.
And cranberry juice.
I love cranberry juice just right out the gate.
Very refreshing and dangerous.
Yeah, I mean maybe I could, not do the alcohol with it. I just kind of want it as a juice.
Right. Like a smoothie or something like that. They are taking the getting ready process on this night very seriously.
You got to. Look, sis, you're going out there into the wild to
hunt.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it. So you got to make sure that you're looking on point, right?
I'm thinking it's possibly a weekend then, because I feel like they don't take it as seriously on the other nights they go out, but it's a weekend, right? So that's when everyone goes out.
Man, you think they're going out like every night?
I'm sure for most of the weeks they are. I mean, isn't that kind of part of the deal?
I guess. I don't know. It seems like a lot.
It's a lot. It's a lot. That's a lifestyle, man.
They do take it seriously though, and we get the first t-shirt time. They don't call it's not called t-shirt time yet.
Yeah.
But the t-shirts come on last, last thing.
Someone does ask, "What time is it?" And I was half expecting them to yell out,
"T-shirt time."
We don't get that in this episode
Not
quite
yet. Not yet. We're getting the birth. This is the birth of all these things that we love.
We get the process of what it is.
Yeah, we get the story and the journey of how we got there.
Of what it is and why it is.
Hair, one of the things that they say, which I want to comment on, is hair on getting a haircut on the day.
Yes.
For the event that you got to go to.
Yeah.
That's a dicey game that you're playing there.
Yeah.
One time I was in a wedding, got my haircut the day of the wedding. It's a horrible haircut. It was a bad haircut. It was windy outside. It was one of those haircuts where you had no hair on the bottom and then it's all on the top, right?
Yeah.
So I looked like that one Muppet. What's that one Muppet's name? With the red hair.
Yeah, he's got the little downturned
me. I think that's his name, Mimi or something like that. I looked like that.
Nice.
Don't get your haircut on the day.
But I guess if they're going out as often as we think they're going out, maybe they have a little wiggle room to play with the haircut.
I'm assuming that they're getting their haircut once every 2 weeks.
Okay.
Which is what I used to do to have. You got to keep it clean.
I don't know. I feel like they're going more often than that, man.
I just don't think that you would need to.
Do you need to do any of the things that they do as a normal person?
I bet you Polly goes the least because Polly's just getting the edges trimmed up to go into the fan,
Maybe he's getting a good old, a shave, a good old fashioned shave.
Good old fashioned shave. They do say shave the night, right before you go out, you want to shave, which I'm not a fan of.
I imagine you'd be a little burned, a little razor burned if you did that.
Well, if they're doing that all the time, then they're probably used to it by now. If I shaved with a razor, it would not be a good situation. It'd be horrible.
Interesting.
Both in looks and what would happen to my skin.
At this point, we're at the club and we do get the first Sam and Mike kiss, which is so ewy. It's so gross.
Really? When does that happen?
So we're at the bar at this point, and I don't even remember if they're outside on the patio or if they're at the bar getting drinks or something like that. I just know that we get the first Sam and Mike kiss, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, that I never saw that.
Good.
I never saw that. I never felt that they were going to be a thing.
Yeah, it's gross. We do get it, and it's very gross.
But we do get Sammy and Ronnie finally starting to become a thing.
Yes, and we do get the first Ron and Sam kiss
on
this same night in this same bar.
We certainly do.
She's double dipping here.
We certainly do. Yeah, they're vibing hard.
Polly and Jenny are also still flirting hardcore, and Jenny just pieces out when it becomes a little too much for her.
She sure does, which I appreciate. That she would have okay,
this is my limit.
If it goes past this, it's gonna be a whole thing.
Specifically, she goes home to have ham and water.
And water.
It's such a gross combination.
It's one of those things that you just grab. You just have.
It's drunk food. Yeah.
Ham
she needs
and
the
water.
Sodium and the hydration.
I suppose so. That's a good way to look at it.
Here again, we're back at the club and we get Mike's anger issues again. Mike's mouth again.
Yeah, Mike cannot stand rejection or being told no like that. It just to him.
He's an addictive personality. I think maybe that's where that rage comes from.
For sure. Yeah, for sure. Because he even struggled now he's sober these days and he's all about the sober living kind of thing. But yeah, he definitely has an addictive personality.
Yeah, he's just so ragey.
So ragey, very childish in the in what he does with that jealousy for a 27-year-old. I'm trying to think back because I've been there before. You know, that's a shitty feeling to feel when you get rejected like that, like right in your face. So
yeah,
I excuse it in the beginning because it's so fresh and it's happening right there in front of his eyes, but it just goes on and on and on, like throughout the whole night, that he just keeps on going back to it.
Just like, I get wanting to confront Sam about kissing Ron. I get that, but like there's a better way to go about doing that. He had his finger in her face. He's like spitting on her face, yelling at her in this club.
Yeah, because Mike is one of those guys who's like, you're mine now. Yeah. No one else can can do this kind of thing.
Possessive.
Very possessive, yeah.
God, his anger issues and his mouth.
Yeah, and which is like like staples. I mean, those are his like in his tool belt.
And here it ends up getting them in a little bit of trouble in the first club fight that
That's right.
I think we get in the whole series.
Yep, it is the
because
first.
of him.
Yeah.
He starts mouthing off to some group of guys. At this point, I don't even know what time it could be in the night, but they're all pretty drunk, it's safe to say. And Paulie ends up hitting the guy first.
Gives him a nice cross with the right jab right in the face.
And we learn that it only takes 9 pounds of pressure to break a nose.
I didn't verify that. I don't know if that's true.
And we'll disclaimer this with that is Dr. Paulie's assessment.
I've also heard that enough pressure, like when you bite through a carrot, that's how much pressure it takes to bite your finger off.
Interesting.
I don't know if that's true or not.
Want to try it?
Not especially.
Come on, let me bite your finger off.
No. I'm going to keep my fingers on my hands where they're at, please. If you want carrots, it's basically the same thing from what I hear.
Well, needless to say, they end up getting kicked out of the clubs the first time. I think they get kicked out somewhere in the series. And Mike, just with the one-liners again, he comes in as saying, I was about to Jerry Springer her ass. What does that mean?
Because Jerry doesn't hit anyone.
What does it mean?
I don't know. I don't know.
What does that mean?
I made that note as well. Like, he makes a Jerry Springer reference.
He kept saying it over and over again. I was about to Jerry Springer her ass.
Yeah, like take her onto a show and like talk it through in front of Jerry.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Boy, that was an interesting period of time, huh? Jerry Springer when he was running amok.
I actually watched a really interesting little documentary about him and that time period when Jerry Springer was just like blowing up back in the 90s.
Really?
I think you'd like it. Did you know that Jerry Springer was a politician?
Yeah, I did know that.
He was the mayor of like Cincinnati or something like that.
Yeah.
Before he did all that.
I also know that he's got a kid who went to school with our cousin or something like that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
They like met them a couple of times down in Louisiana. I think that's where he lives.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Weird little guy.
Smart little guy.
I guess. He's a politician. Okay.
Moving on. I wish I had Mike's confidence. Mike is so sure of himself, like to a detrimental effect.
Mike's mouth again. I mean, he tells the girls that they just picked up that they're being called whores. Essentially, they find some randoms on the street again and bring them home. And
here's something I want to ask you. What do you think about the Ron's nipple ring? Just the one.
Oh, I don't even think I realized.
Oh, I noticed it.
Oh my gosh.
It's hard to miss.
I think I missed that, actually.
I guess maybe it is hard to miss. I saw it.
I wasn't paying attention to
He's
his
only got
nips.
the one on the left one.
How do I feel about that? Uncomfortable a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know if I don't like it on guys.
No.
We can end that one right there. This is not that kind of podcast. Maybe we'll cut that out. I don't know. They do a little turnaround insult little game. They play that. No, you're stupid. No, well, you're stupid. No, you're dumb.
Who?
Sammy and Mike.
Sammy and Mike.
Yeah, I think it was more. It was more of just like oh, these are children, kind of a fight.
They're like continuing the fight from the club at home because
exactly.
Mike is still pissed off.
Exactly, but he says something and then Sammy says the same thing back to him. And then
okay,
that thing, kind of a thing,
Yeah, they're like throwing each other the birds like the whole night.
Yeah. It's so stupid.
It's so stupid.
He is so upset about the whole thing because I think Mike is a bit like a softie, like down deep, like a real Mike.
He's got a little jelly core.
I think Mike cries. I think Mike cries a lot.
Really?
It's like leading up to the show and probably throughout the show. I feel like Mike's a crier.
Interesting.
I think he puts on this bad boy persona, but that's really not.
He's like trying to cover maybe
him. Yeah, and then he's done it so long that maybe he's even confused. Maybe he thinks he is a badass.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, I think Mike cries a lot.
That's a good theory. I would totally believe that. But here again, Mike's mouth gets him into trouble, and I think it's because he's upset that he has to kind of like ruin the time for everyone kind of a thing, which again, we see this as a pattern throughout the whole series.
Yeah.
But that's when he goes up to the loft because they have the girls over upstairs, and he tells them that they're being talked about behind their backs.
Instigating. Wait, is that our first? Are we in the situation room in this episode? Do we get into the situation? Is that our first situation room?
It's a situation room.
Situation room. We don't have any sound effects, but we. Yeah, we'll get something there for every time we're in the situation room. But yeah, my situation room is when Mike gets in there, starting trouble.
Instigating.
He's the
instigation.
He does it so well.
He's so good at it.
He knows the buttons to push.
He's the root of all problems, as Ron has already very clearly seen.
Yeah.
And then Angelina comes in as a block.
Nice.
And is quoted as saying possibly one of the most shocking things that I've ever heard come out of a girl's mouth. She's quoted as saying, if a girl is a slut, she should be abused.
Damn. Seriously?
Yes, I was shocked.
That is crazy.
I did not remember her saying that.
I think that one just went right through my brain. I don't think I even comprehended that.
Could never get away with saying something like that these days. I mean, I don't think you could get away with it back then. It definitely was frowned upon, but especially now.
You can't say that now.
You can't say it now. And it makes it even worse. It's coming from a girl.
Brutal.
So
brutal.
Harsh.
But that is a pot calling the kettle black.
Yeah. Oh yeah, for sure.
Took a lot to get out.
Completely hypocritical. But Angelina and Mike at this point start kind of getting into it, which is always hilarious to me whenever they get into their little spats, because they're both
the same.
They're the same.
Yeah.
Like they fight the same.
They have the same tactics.
They're witty in their own way, and they can just get underneath each other's skin.
They like going for the drama. They like starting that kind of stuff.
They do. Mike says, why don't you lose 5 or 10 pounds and then we can talk? And Angelina says, I'll cut your hair off in your sleep.
These are the comments that I love. Yeah.
It. Like, this argument is amazing.
I will cut your hair off in your sleep is such a, like a 6-year-old would say that to you.
Such a real threat too, though. Like, you would actually believe that she would do it.
Oh, yeah.
She for sure would do it.
She for sure would do it.
But again, like, you can't get away with saying things like lose 5 or 10 pounds and then we can talk.
That's true.
A guy saying that to a girl.
That's true.
Like, dang.
Yeah, I think Mike's comment cut a little deeper than hers did. Angelina takes like a champ, though.
She really does.
She doesn't break down. She does not back off.
No, she doesn't.
Angelina's
doesn't.
Bitch.
Yeah, she doesn't, man.
At you.
If that was me. Like, that would shut me down right then and there.
That's not getting past her. No. She's good. That's the one thing that I will say about these girls is they got backbones. Like, these girls have balls. Like, they will dish it out and they'll take it just the same.
They're fighters, man.
Yeah. They're a rough crowd.
Really rough crowd.
Can you imagine getting hit by JWoww?
No.
Can you imagine how much that would hurt?
Yes, I can imagine.
To your core.
Yeah. She's strong.
She's scary.
She's an Amazon. She's a big girl.
She is tall, huh?
She's very tall.
How tall is she?
Let me Google and see.
Tell you what JWoww's doing, though. She's doing the contacts thing, the colored contacts thing.
Oh, is she?
Yeah. She's rocking the blue ones.
Yes,
Pretty
she
much
is.
for a long time. I think a lot of the girls do that,
Yeah.
which you just don't see that too much these days. I think that's
It was a fad, I think.
Yeah.
I mean, if people still do it, it's a lot more natural now. I think back then you kind of went for more of the unnatural colors.
purple.
But Jenny is not full Italian either, and I don't think actually a lot of these guys are full Italian.
Does she have some Chippewa in her?
Does she have some Sioux?
She got some Sioux in
She
you?
got some
You got some
Cherokee?
Chippewa? What else is she?
I think she's actually part Irish or something weird like that.
Okay. That
Okay.
could explain the drinking.
Well, height-wise, take a guess at how tall she is.
Oh, I'm gonna go 5'9", 5'8", 5'10". I'm gonna go 5'10". I'll lock it in 5'10".
That's pretty generous. She's 5'7".
Okay, so
That's
not as
tall to me. That's tall.
See, I'm 5'9".
But I think that's average.
I think that's about average.
That might not be average for a woman. I feel like 5'5" is average.
How tall is Polly?
Let's see. Polly D is 5'10".
So he's my
That's
height.
average.
Yeah. Well, not my height. They seem so much bigger.
Yeah, they do.
That's actually not that big. That's pretty average size.
Yeah.
You know, the most shocking one is Snooki.
I think everyone else in the house is just tiny because Snooks is over there at 4'8", Sam is 5'5", Ronnie is 5'6", Angelina's 5'1", so Angelina's about my height, and then Mike is 5'11".
So Mike is the tallest one.
Yeah, technically by an inch.
It's fair.
As far as Jenny's genetic background, she's mostly of Northwestern European ancestry, breaking down as 24% British Irish, 16% French German, 23% just broad Northwestern Europe.
So no Italian in there at all.
No.
Oh wow. So she's a wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
She's a JWoww in a Guidette's clothing.
Exactly.
That's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
We start getting we get a little Ronnie and Sam v Mike little action.
Yeah,
towards the end, they start making
Mike,
little comments.
The Mike remembering montage
in the sunlight.
Brilliant. How they're having him rehash.
I've got that note.
The montage is
him reflecting in the sunlight is just so Mike.
Whoever produced that little bit of this show did him dirty on that. That is so embarrassing.
I like to think he did that. He was just out there, and the camera guy's like, "Can you believe this guy right now out here reflecting on the looking at the ocean into the sunlight because this girl that he met like 2 hours ago is now messing with this other guy who he met like 2 hours ago."
Yeah. The episode ends with Sam and Ron going to sleep together, and this is going to be another pattern that we see throughout the whole series. I don't think there's any time, unless they're fighting, where they don't share a bed together.
That's right.
And then Mike is alone.
And
that's how the episode ends.
Sets us up real good for next week's episode, which really starts getting into the real drama, like, and all this kind of stuff. Because now we're a couple of episodes in. You know
the characters,
each other,
you know who the players are, you know what the setting is,
you know what the show's about,
you know what the
theme
challenges
is.
are.
And it just starts really going into like next level stuff as we go on down further into the season.
It's getting juicier.
It is getting juicier.
Shall we say?
Yeah.
So for the next episode, we might try a little bit of a different format.
Yes.
We're still kind of working out how we want this whole thing to go down. So whereas we would watch the episode first and make all of our notes and then just kind of sit down and chat about it, we might actually try. What do you think, Steve?
I think we'll try a couple of different things, and then, we'd love your feedback too if you want to tell us what kind of works best for what we're kind of doing here. But we think that for next week's episode, we'll watch the episode live and kind of give a commentary about what's kind of happening
as we're
as
watching
it's going.
it, maybe, and we'll see if we kind of like that format better. But if you have a preference as to how you want to consume like this information,
is the deep dive into this anything? We got something
is
here?
it interesting at all to you?
It's interesting to us.
Is this pointless content interesting at all?
It's interesting to us, and I think it should be interesting to everyone.
Yes.
Look, this is this is base human, like, emotions, interactions. This is like boil it all down, strip it all away. We get the core of what being human is in this show, which is why I love it so much.
It's a great sociological experiment. That's what I love about it. The sociology of it, the psychology of it. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, that is episode 2, the tan triangle. We're triangling all kinds of stuff right now. Episode 3 will come at you next week, whenever that will be next week. I think we'll release these like once a week, something like that.
We're in a work in progress.
Okay.
So.
Closing remarks, sis. Anything you want to tell everyone?
I don't think so.
Anything coming up?
Excited to just kind of keep deep diving into this.
Yeah, this is a whole lot of fun.
We're having fun.
If you tuned in, thank you so much. We'll see you next week for episode 3. Sound like a plan?
See you next time.
Alrighty, guys. Take it easy out there and, fist bump your way to glory.
Bye.
See ya.